Hey, welcome back to the Black and Gold Standard Podcast. And today we're going to talk about the defensive tackles. This is a position that I think actually the Pittsburgh Steelers may actually put some decent resources into picking one of these guys because you know I just think it's a situation where the Steelers they need a big run stuffing defensive tackle in the middle of that defense. I think for the last few years, this defense has been a little soft in the middle as far as stopping the run. And I think one of these young guys that's coming out in this draft that will be available, I think will help the Steelers big time and really help their need of stopping the run. I mean, I think you're fine with Hayward and Harmon, those guys playing basically the the defensive ends, but in the middle, it needs to be toughened up. I just think they're too small. I think the Steelers are too small there. And with that said, hey Christine, how you doing? I think the Steelers are too small in that middle. So I think it's some guys that's going to be available here that really definitely in that third round where they got three third round picks. I'm hoping that out of one of those third round picks is a defensive tackle. I don't think they'll go. Well, I know they're not going to go first round or even second round with a defensive tackle. But I think the third round is going to be they sweet spot to maybe snatch one of these guys. I think most of them will be available at that junction of the draft. So with that said, let's get right into it and see what we have here. Alrighty, make this big. All right, so with that said, let's start off right from the start. Xavier Harris. Um, this is probably a guy that a lot of people haven't heard about. But 6'8", 330 pounds. Um, again, I'm really not so concerned about the 40 time. He ran a 5.40. I probably should have put the splits on there. I when it comes to big guys like this, I like looking at the splits. The split time, that 10-yard split. That'll kind of let you know what type of explosion um, they have or don't have. But I'm really not worried about them running a 40. But AL, which is arm length, 34 and 5'8". So this is the kid. This is a basically a very big human being. Very big. I mean, you put him in the middle. I don't know if some of you guys will remember John Henderson back in the day. I think he played for Jacksonville. I mean, this is a humongous man, and he probably would look very good um, in the middle of the Steelers defense. Now, this is a guy. I mean, like I said, the third round, I would like to see the Steelers draft a defensive tackle. Probably the third round would be probably a little bit rich for him, but this is a kid that maybe the fourth or even the fifth round. And Steelers have two fourth round picks. If they decided to hold off, this is a kid that I think probably would be there. But he's a run stopping defensive tackle. He's massive, so he's a type guy that I mean he just swallow up running backs. It takes two guys to block them, and that's what the Steelers really need, especially if they want to get the best they can get out of their linebackers. You got to protect them, so you got to have him Um, you need to be you got to have that one player that can take a center and guard, and it takes both of them to block them. And also, and it's a lot of ways they teach these guys to kind of hold on and kind of lock in on both of those guys and keep them from making that combo block. Because usually what you you will have the center and the guard. Well, they're going to attack that nose tackle, but what they're going to do, they're going to try to get them turned a certain way, and then once they get them turned, either the center or the guard, mostly the guard, he's going to release them, and he's going to shoot up to those linebackers, and that's what's been happening with the Steelers. And everybody want to get on Patrick Queen and saying Queen is not this, not that, but he's not getting any protection. When Patrick Queen, I mean, Patrick Queen is already not a very big guy, so when he has a 320-pound guard steaming down on him, it's hard to make plays. So that's just one of the things that the Steelers really got to look at. And let me see what we got here. You think any chance we get Dexter Lawrence? Nah, I don't think so. I don't think we're gonna get sexy Dexy, um, because it's gonna cost. And I ain't seen some. I'm gonna be honest. I seen some diabolical stuff going on. Dexter Lawrence is gonna cost you a first round pick. I mean, he's gonna cost a first round pick plus something else. I mean, not just a first round pick, but he's going to definitely cost you a first and maybe a fourth or a fifth or something. But he's going to cost. So nah, I don't think the Steelers is gonna I don't think the Steelers gonna be in play for that. Yeah, 6'8", 330 pounds. That's what I'm talking about, right? Exactly. I mean, he's a big guy. This kid is a big guy, and like I said, this is a name that's probably not floating around as much. Probably don't hear about him that much, but he's a big kid. My number 9 guy, Tim Keelan the third. One of these Alabama kids. He's a guy that again, another run stopper. 6'1", 227 pounds. Again, I'm really not too much worried about the 40, but he ran in 5.31. Kind of short arms. Arms a little short, 30 and a half inch arms. Again, he's a guy that maybe you can get in around the fourth, fifth round. Um, Another run stopper, another guy that you could plug in the middle, and help this team just get control and stop all these teams from gashing them, and give these linebackers some protection, and we can really see what these guys can do. So with that said, what's up, Tyrone? Um, so with that said, again, like I say, this is just another kid that you could get a little later in the draft. Again, probably not a guy that that you hear a lot about, but as you can see, he's a one technique. So one technique is basically a nose tackle. So the Steelers basically play an odd front. So he's gonna be the guy. He's lining up right over the center. He's gonna line up right over the center, and his number one job is to destroy the center, to destroy him. I mean, every play you want to have him pushing that center back into the quarterback, collapsing the pocket. So when you collapse the pocket, now the quarterback got to roll out, and then as you know, you got T.J. Watt and you got Alex Highsmith coming around the edge. and the quarterback gonna run right into one of those guys. But you got to control the middle of that pocket, and so he would be a guy that would fit here in Pittsburgh. And say he'll be the one technique. He'll line up right over the he'll line up right over the center. And if the Steelers do ever play a even front, he'll be a two gap. So he'll kind of play in between. He'll play in that gap between the center and the guard. He'll play right there in that gap, and again try to control those guys and try to get upfield and just make havoc. I mean, these guys are really not asked to. I mean, obviously, on your way to the quarterback, make a tackle, but these guys are really not asked to. And I think this is one of the things that got the Steelers in trouble when you're trying to play this 3-4 defense. That nose tackle, it's a hard position because you're really not asking him to go out and make tackles and make sacks, and they're not. That's not really their job. Their job is to destroy that center, and also, maybe on certain plays, get the guard, destroy combo blocks, and I mean, I honestly, their job is dirty. Because at the end of the day, if you see your linebackers and made 15 tackles, that nose tackle is doing his job. Then that nose tackle is doing his job, and it's just a position that not too glorified, but it's definitely a much needed one. So yeah, he had a little some off the field stuff, but like I say, if you can get him in the fifth round, I'm not so much. I can kind of deal with that a little bit more because you really ain't got that much invested in them, and you can hit you can hit on one of those guys, and if he still has his issues, you're not really killing yourself if you decide you gotta let him go. But you know, let's see. My number 8 guy, Skylar Gill Howard. Now he's the other defensive tackle that was in at Texas Tech. Now he's not the main guy, but he played well off of Hunter. 6'1", 280 pounds. Um, ran a 4.9 40. Kind of again a little short arms, 30 and 3/4. Kind of a good athlete. Not really what I would be looking for the Steelers. He's a little light, and that's not going to really work. That's not going to work for what the Steelers need. So I think a team that plays a 4-3, he could play a little bit of DN, or he could bump inside a little bit, but he's not really a guy for the Steelers because he's just too small. He's too small. Um, what you got there, Christian? Somebody that can double team. Oh, what are you talking about? Yeah, I don't want him. Yeah, it's too small. 280. That's a little bit too small. That's kind of dealing with the guys we got now. I mean, actually, the guys we got now are kind of bigger than him, and we're already saying those guys are too small. So nah, he wouldn't be a kid that I would personally be looking for. But um, a certain, if he fits a certain defense, he's a guy. I wouldn't say he's a starter or anything like that, but he could definitely be a rotational guy that could give you a little energy and give you a little pop. But not a guy for the Steelers. Chris McCollum, 6'4", 313, 505, 34 arms. Again, this is the guy you maybe get around the fifth the fifth round. I have to admit, and I'm probably wrong for saying this, but I don't know. I don't want to mess with no Missouri players because every time I see a guy from Missouri, I think of what was the guy that the Steelers drafted? Hood, Ziggy Hood, and he did nothing. So I have a bias against Missouri players because of him. But yeah, again, nice size, nice size. But like I say, I have a Missouri bias that I'm not interested in any Missouri players. But he's a run stopper. He's a run stopper. But again, not really, not really for me. The Steelers could see it a different way, but again, at 313, still kind of light. I mean, and that's crazy that we're saying a guy that's 300 pounds is light, but just again, I want that guy that can anchor, and he ain't gonna move. He ain't gonna move, and that's just my thoughts. So, uh, I would pass on him. Demond Capehart, another guy, 6'5", 313, very good athlete, 4.85, decent arm length, 33 and 7/8. Now he's gonna be probably a fourth round pick. So now we're starting to move up to the better talent here. Again, does he fit what the Steelers need? I would say not. Um, not saying that he can't be a run stopper, but at 3 13, he gonna get pushed around. He gonna get pushed around a little bit. So I wouldn't really be too high on him as you know as a Pittsburgh Steeler. But he can move. He can move. I mean, he's a guy that's gonna win it with strength, and he's gonna win it with his speed. So again, I think he probably fits more in a 4-3 defense, not so much a 3-4 guy. But that's what some of these guys are gonna be. So like I say, you're gonna always look at guys that's gonna fit your scheme, and I don't think he fits the Steelers scheme. So let's move on. My number 5. Now we're about to get into guys that I could really legitly see the Steelers taking a chance at. And the first guy, I would have no problem at all. The Pittsburgh Steelers taking him at um, third round, fourth round. I mean, I think you had to get him in the third at one of those three picks, and that's Darnell Jackson Jr. Now, again, you're gonna say, well, you said you don't want the 315-pound guy, and that's true. But this guy right here, he has like one of the biggest wingspans of any player coming out in the draft. He has 34 and 3/4 arms, so he can keep guys off of him. And he's strong as a bull. He's strong as a bull. Um, he's gonna be like a third round talent. Um, I think he's a guy that again, I still kind of want that anchor. Um, can he really be that? I don't know, but he's just a big guy, so he has the arm span to keep the whole guys off of him and not really get up into him. So we would have to see, but um, this starting right here, this is a guy that I wouldn't have a problem with the Steelers drafting Jackson again. not quite what I'm really looking for, but um, this is a guy that I wouldn't mind him taking because the one thing I think the Steelers have, and we're gonna find out. And like I say, it's so hard now because this is a new staff, so we really don't understand what this staff really likes. But the one thing that I have kind of noticed right now, if you look at all the Steelers defensive linemen that they have right now, and even what they picked up the one guy in free agency, it's kind of showing me that the Steelers, or this coaching staff, they have a type, and their type is Darnell Jackson. Because you look at them, all the Steelers defensive linemen are pretty much that same. They're all 6'6", 6'5", 6'4", 310, 315, long arms. That's the Steelers. I mean, if you look at all their defensive linemen, that's what they are. So I don't know if I'm almost thinking that this staff has a type, and Jackson would fit that type, but we got to see um, what they do as far as getting a defensive tackle. And then, like I say, going into next year, we'll know more about the staff, and we'll kind of have a better understanding of what they like. But that's just something to keep in mind. And like I say, if you go pick up the Steelers roster and you look at all their D tackles, they all of them are pretty much the same size. And then on top of that, the guy that they picked up, he fits that mold of what was already here. So I'm almost thinking that these guys got it tight, and the short 350-pound guy, they might not like him, and I believe that's what they need, but they might not like him. But moving right ahead, here go a guy that I think you could get in the third round. He's building up a little steam, but 6'2". Excuse me, Dominique Orange out of Iowa State. He's 6'2", 322 pounds. Arm length is solid, 33 and 3/8. Um, he's a fire plug. Like, to me, these are the type guys that I like. And to me, to make the 3-4 defense work, I just think you need one of these type guys. And I believe even if the Steelers do have a type, it's always good to have at least one outliner, and he would kind of be that for the Steelers. This gonna be a kid that you can plug right in the middle. He's definitely gonna wear that center out, and he can take on double teams, and he can plug a hole. And I just think this is one of the things that the Steelers really need. He has a great first step. And as you read it here, see, he's gonna get in the gaps, which is gonna free up linebackers to flow to the football. And that's why me personally, I'm really not on. I'm not really on the get rid of Patrick Queen, because I just feel like he haven't been protected all the way. And the one thing that he did have in Baltimore, yeah, he was playing on the side of Smith, but Baltimore had big defensive tackles, and that's what Baltimore did. They cleaned it up for those guys, and they could flow. And I think Patrick Queen is still a great. Now, will they re-sign him? Who knows? But he's only 26 years old. Like, that's the one thing about Steeler fans, that we want to get rid of a person quick. We want to get rid of a guy. Um, like I say, I think he's only 26. He ain't like Patrick Queen has played terrible. Yeah, it's sometimes that he missed tackles and do things, but like I say, he's not getting the protection that he needs, what your linebackers need. I mean, even with Ray Lewis, one of the things that made Ray Lewis as great as he was Nada. Remember, Nada played in front of Ray Lewis, so them guards and all that wasn't getting to Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis had a free run, and now yeah, he could get sideline to sideline, but he didn't have to deal with having a 350-pound guard sitting in his lap. So with that said, um, that's a guy that I'm definitely looking at. That I hope by the end of the draft he's wearing black and gold. All right, here we go now. The Godfather, Dante Clarion, the Godfather. Now, this is another hole stopper, I guess you could say. 6 foot, 340 pounds. Uh, yeah, a little shorter arms, 31, 31 and 7/8. But he's powerful. He's powerful. I mean, he's a very strong guy. Now, this is a kid that's definitely gonna take on those double teams, break those double teams up, um, get in the gaps, protect your linebackers. This is a kid that he's actually picking up steam. I still think you could get him in the third round, but he's picking up a little steam. I don't think he's going to push into the second round, but I think the Steelers' first third round pick, I think you definitely will have to grab him. What you got here? I think PQ is too fast for his own good. Yeah, I mean, but like I say, I just think he haven't really been, and that's probably part of it. Moving so fast to try to avoid that guard coming down on him, and maybe he's overrunning plays. Like I say, I just think that the Steelers' defense was just a little flawed, and those guys wasn't getting the protection. And like I say, with Queen and Wilson, they're not big guys. They're fast, but they're not big guys. So they need that. They need those offensive linemen. I mean, them defensive linemen to give them pressure. I mean, to take some of that pressure off of them, because you got guys like Cam Hayward. As great as Cam Hayward is, Cam ain't holding up. No, Cam is going after the quarterback. Cam going straight for the quarterback. Now it happened. If he can stop the run, he will. But he's going after the quarterback. He ain't trying to. Cam is just getting those stats. So we'll see. We'll see. What we got here? I think orange looks more like the Steelers type. You think so? Yeah, probably so. Yeah, I mean, he's a little taller. Like I say, I just think they got a type, and their type is their defensive lineman being no shorter than 6'4". They want 6'4", 6'5", 6'6" type guys. But we'll see. I agree. Orange is my first nose tackle choice. Yep. I agree with that. I mean, I can see that. I wouldn't, like I say, I'm not going to be mad either way. If you could get either one of these guys, I'm cool with it. I am cool with it. All right. Second guy, the number 2 guy is going to be Lee Hunter. Again, this is going to be a kid. Is he really for the Steelers? I don't know. I don't really think he fits the Steelers defense. He's good. I mean, he can get up the field. Like I said, this is another guy that's probably fits the 4-3 a little better, because he want to get up the field and get to the quarterback. And I just don't think he really fits what the Steelers need at this point. Coleon, but is built like Hampton. Yeah, he is. Big snack. Yeah, that's something. Like a lot of guys, these coaches now, they feel like you don't want to have that. I don't know. Big snack probably was about 350 easy, and that was probably before lunch. Um, I think they worry about these guys getting off the field because everybody want to play hurry up and or get those guys stuck on the field and they out of gas so that's like one of the things that I think they be looking at. What we got here? McDonald, Hunter, and Orange. I know we won't be able to get McDonald, but I want him as so bad. Well, I can tell you what, they could get McDonald, but um, I just don't think the Steelers are is at a point that they want to get a nose tackle at that position in the draft. Because I'm telling you, and I forget I don't know who it was I was talking to. I think McDonald, it's a good chance he falls out the first round. I truly believe that. I can see him falling out the first round, but he'll definitely be he either two things gonna happen. A team could trade back up into the first round and get him right at the tail end of the first, or he's definitely gonna be the first 10 picks in the second round. He'll be one of those picks. So he's gonna go high in the second, I believe. But if he goes in the first round, I think the only way he goes in the first round is going to be a team that trades back up into the first and get him right at the end of the first round. Because at the end of the day, unless you are a dominating nose tackle that can get to the quarterback, and you're a guy that from the nose tackle position they feel as though that you're gonna give them 6, 7 sacks. It's hard to be taking a nose tackle in the first round for a guy that you only gonna play maybe the first two downs, or maybe sometimes he ain't gonna play a lot of snaps, so it ain't really worth the investment um, to get a guy like that. And I know how fans look at it, but when you really break it down football wise, when you look at the value, he ain't really that. He ain't really that. Now, like I say, if you're a team that has everything and you just you know not really looking for a certain player, yeah, you might you could take a chance on him. But I just truly believe he's gonna be a player that he's either somebody gonna trade back into the first and get him right at the tail end of the first, or he's gonna be the first 10 picks in the second round. He'll be one of those. He'll be one of those players, I believe. And speaking of that, the number one guy will be Caden McDonald. But again, I just don't think you know it's gonna be too well. He's definitely gonna go too high for the Steelers. So the Steelers won't have a chance of getting him. But 6'2", 326 pounds. I think he does what the Steelers need. Um, but I just think he's gonna go way higher than what the Steelers are looking to invest in that position. So with that said, that's our nose tackles. Tomorrow we will be talking about the edges, where I don't really see the Pittsburgh Steelers taking the edge, but it's some good guys out there. It's some guys out there that I wouldn't mind them taking a chance on, because at some point you got to start looking at um, TJ Watt replacement. You got to figure out what you want to do with Herbert. You know, do you want to sign him and give him the big money, or do you want to go in another direction and let him go? So getting a young edge is not out the question. It is not out the question for the Steelers, and it's a ton of them. Actually, it's more than 10. So, you know, we'll be talking about those guys tomorrow. And it's getting close, folks. I mean, before you know it, the draft will be here. All this speculation is being done and over with. I think actually the Steelers reported today for their voluntary workouts. So you should be getting some news about that. You know, and we'll try to. Okay. Thanks for telling me that. So with that said, we're gonna end this thing. Saying my mic is going out, so I don't know what's going on with that. So you guys take care, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. All right, bye bye.